Hello, and welcome to another Warcraft 3 audio commentary. This one will be some solo games devoted to the Holy Paladin. And so in these two games, I'm going to be going for Paladin first. This first game is on Terran's Stand. It's a human mirror match. I've spawned at the bottom right position. He has spawned at the top left. And yeah, it's going to be a pretty interesting game here. Obviously, going for Paladin first is going to be a very sort of an unusual strategy, especially in a human mirror match. But we are going to see how this plays out, and yeah, so that's pretty much going to be me going Footman at the beginning as well. He's going to do also Paladin first, so that's really unlikely that this would occur. Both of us decided to go Paladin since it's one of the more rarely chosen first heroes, but in any event, I'm going to be getting 4 Footmen, then getting Defend and going off to Creep. I'm throwing up a Scout farm up here. I've scouted with a Peasant, and so I'm going to see if he's coming around this side, so it's going to sort of give me an advance warning, you know, if he goes by this, what he has crept on his side of the map, if he's going to go for this gold mine or something like that, or maybe he's crept out his sort of the closest gold mine to him, which is this one. I will be able to see the item that he gets. So in any event, just doing a little bit of creeping here. He's going to be throwing up a second barracks, and it looks like he called to arms for a second and then didn't, and but in any event, he's also building a blacksmith to go with his other barracks there. So he looks like he's a little bit terrible, actually. You know, this base build isn't bad though, I guess. It's sort of unnecessarily blocked out the gold mine peasants, but a little, but it doesn't really block them out for footmen. So and he doesn't have a tower up or anything like that. So it looks like he's going to be massing. I don't know. He's getting two barracks and a blacksmith, and he's teching. So maybe he's sort of got his eye to a late game strategy of like knights or something like that. I think that could be pretty decent. He's gone devotional first. He's not creeping, giving me way too much time to go ahead and mass up here. So I'm gonna be trying to use this lightning shield and a little bit, and not get killed with it though, hopefully, but just do some damage and get this expansion up. So I've got level 3 now, and he's just now finally creeping. He's added a rifleman, and he's gonna probably lose that footman pretty soon, I would assume. No, he got healing, so he's gonna save it. But yeah, he's gonna mass rifleman now, so I'm not exactly sure. You know, I guess that was his goal the whole time. He's lost the footman finally. He looks like he's gonna lose a rifleman. Maybe he's taking all this lightning shield damage. So I'm throwing an expansion up here. We've pretty much crept the same spots, but you know, I've crept a little bit more than him actually. But I'm throwing up an expansion at my pretty much already done with a towered expansion at my gold mine there, and he's got mass rifleman and no expansion up yet. And I revealed it from my lab, got the lab, and saw that he had a peasant there, that he had crept it. But defend footmen are great against riflemen. You know, he could possibly kite if he was a little bit microing a little bit better, but again, in terms of unit combination, this is a very bad battle for him to try to fight me. He needs to militia all of his peasants probably, or at least all the wood ones, to even have any kind of chance here. You know, a whole level ahead of him. So I've got level 2 devotion aura, and not to mention defend is just completely crazy against reducing piercing damage. So now he's going to finally go ahead and focus on my paladin. That's a pretty good strategy for him. He's going to make me TP out here. And I was doing my own lack of micro there, but I'm going out to castle as well. I'm adding a second blacksmith to facilitate a bunch of a bunch of upgrades really quick since I've got this expansion rolling. He's slowly expanding with one peasant. Not great for him, and he's adding in mortar teams. He is not teching the tier 3, so I'm ahead of him in tech now and economy, so this is just going to get pretty much bananas. I'm adding in some arcane sanctums. I've got a third barracks going up, so I'm trying to, and I've got a goblin shredder here, so I'm going to be staying at, trying to stay at no upkeep for a while and bank up maybe. I could probably just go ahead and roll him over and win this game pretty quick, but just going to be playing for fun here and getting a mass army of probably knights and priests, if I recall correctly. Maybe even getting some inner fire. There's a good chunk of time left in this game, so at any rate, I pick up some scrolls. Normally armor scroll is kind of a waste in the human mirror match, but he actually doesn't have any arcane sanctums, so not going to be too terrible. Notice how slow the human expansion process is if you do it the normal speed. So now it looks like he might be. No, he's not. Okay, yeah, he is going to be finally adding a second peasant here, but unfortunately for him, I'm going to run up right in time to stop this, and mostly this because he was doing it with one peasant, not power building it. So, well, but I didn't actually destroy it, so he does get to finish it. So, a bit of a silly move on my part, but at this point I've got priest adept, and I'm about to have a master level priest, and I have knights, so he really is making just the terrible unit choice here. So I'll pop an armor scroll and go to work. And there's just real no way his army can really go toe to toe with me. Inner fire, level 3 armor. So these knights have over 20 armor with those upgrades and all that stuff. Inner fire and armor scroll, devotional. Just got so much extra armor that it was just crazy. So that was a pretty not great game here, and pretty silly. So in this next game, we're gonna see what the opponent has in store for me. This game is going to be a lot closer than the last game, and it's going to show how a sort of cheesy strategy can give you a shot if you catch your opponent with it. It's not that I'd never seen the strategy before, it's just that I was a little bit slower than, or he hit me a little bit quicker with it than I sort of expected. And I didn't have, since I was like really late on my tech, I didn't have the counter ready, which one of the counters to this strategy that he's going to be doing is you pretty much need some sort of detection, like magic sentry, flare, a gyro, something like that, because the strategy that he's going to be going for is invisible mortar teams, which can be very funny to do. Can be very effective actually, since one of the sort of foundations of a good strategy and making a good army and pretty much getting wins is your economy. And for a lot of the game, even if you get an expansion, you are sitting with like 2 buildings that can be sniped if they mass up siege and get in range. One of the main problems with like mortar teams or most kinds of siege units is getting them in range of the town hall or whatever the target is, without getting caught out in the middle of the map somewhere, because siege units are usually pretty slow, pretty easy to kill. So my base is pretty well set up. I've got a semi-block going here, a wall, and I was able to sort of wall off his artillery. I still take a little bit of damage there, but he is going to end up running himself right into a trap here. So I'm going to wall off this side of the map, or the gold mine, and what have you, and get this around and force him to town portal. He probably should have just lost the hero there, but I guess he thinks he can, and I guess he's correct in thinking that he can go creep. So notice I've got another scout farm here, which is actually going to tie him up when he tries to go, I don't know if he was going to go try to expand or, what the deal was, but anyway, I'm going to come creep his camps actually. So in this game I've also gone for a paladin. I notice he's got one arcane tower, and now he's getting a blacksmith. His base is pretty well set up as well actually. So notice that I'm not really going to rush into his base. I sort of expect him to have a bunch of towers, at least one arcane tower, and I don't know if I saw the other one going up. No, but with just a few footmen against towers, or at least one tower and militia, it's most likely I wasn't going to be able to do a whole lot of damage there, which is one of the reasons I didn't press into his base. And again, the Archmage is a fast-moving hero, so if I get low, he has the potential to, any of my footmen, if they get low, has the potential to chase them down. So I'm going to be going ahead and creeping this. I know he, should not have an army to sort of stop me from expanding right now. So I'm going to go ahead and get this done. And he's going to drop a blizzard on a good chunk of my army, but it's not really that big of a deal as long as I don't stand there for too long. Since I do have healing, and that Archmage is the only thing he's really got, and it's only level 1. So now a lot of times with this strategy you're going to go for an Archmage and a Blood Mage for the AoE spells. It has two functions. One is you can actually sort of fight, especially from inside a base with good positioning, you can sort of fight decent sized armies with the AoE, even if you don't have like any actual units. And on the other side, it's really great when you do the mortar team push, if they go to try to repair, which is pretty much required facing the strategy. When they try to repair their town hall, whenever you hit it with the mortar teams, a lot of times there's not really a great way to do that without bunching up your peasants, because you're just going to have so many of them repairing. So it's going to give him a great target to hit in a flame strike, in a blizzard, and potentially kill like 5 peasants while you're desperately trying to keep your town hall up. So it can help him be offensive. Later in the game it's going to be great against buildings if they get leveled up. Again, the Archmage is going to is a standard human hero, so it sort of works pretty well. It's pretty versatile. You can make casters out of it. If you don't make casters, you're sort of losing a lot of the benefit of Brilliant Sword, but you don't have to go casters. It just sort of is usually better if you get some casters. Breakers and priests are kind of the standard in the human mirror, but obviously he is deviating from that strategy quite a bit. But his base is really sort of well set up. He's working off of 2 towers here, and but he's got sort of a couple of entrances there, and he should be able to fight me pretty easily from inside of his base with swords and mortars. And you're going to notice that I'm really slow on the tech once again. Now, there's no real reason for it. I had plenty of resources, and if I would have teched faster, this game would have been way easier than it's going to turn out to be, because one of the strengths of this strategy is not only does it knock out your economy, but if they hit the right base, which usually is going to be the main base first, then they're going to knock your tech out as well. So especially if if you're going teching as slow as I am, you're going to prevent the enemy from being able to get tier 3. If they want to tech again, they're going to have to waste a whole nother chunk of resources to get that to go back up to tier 2. And really just the whole delay and everything is really going to hurt. But the main thing is it stops your economy for a while. Now I've got an expansion, so it's not going to totally stop my economy, but you know, it is a big blow, and especially if you don't get any of those mortar team kills when he does it, then he is just able to do it again, or you know, keep you sort of on defense and do whatever he really wants to do. So notice these mortar teams are just, you know, even just with a few mortar teams, they actually counter, you know, footmen if they're not attacking the mortar teams. He's going to be able to do a lot of damage there, and so despite having that armor scroll, I can't really stick around and do too much. I think I did get like 1 or 2 peasant kills, maybe even, no, one of those is a footman. So I killed 2 peasants, lost a footman, and retreated. And I saw what he was doing, so I'm like, okay, I need to deal with that. He's got 2 attack upgrades. Usually if you do the strategy, you are going to want to get the attack upgrades. He is not, but notice he only has 5 mortar teams. But you're going to see how strong this tactic is when he gets in range. He's only got 5 mortar teams, is 15 food worth of units. He's got a hero, so that's 20 food, and then you do need a couple of sorks usually. But so I am just 2 Slayer. Notice I'm power building the Arcane Sanctum. I know that I need to get this Magic Sentry upgrade, but I am just a tad too late, and a very small amount of time difference could have made this way easier, because he wouldn't be able to get to my base if I had to fight me from outside of it and all that. But I noticed 5 mortar teams, and you know, if I mass repaired it, I probably could have saved it there. I don't know, but he was blizzarding, so I get 1 mortar team kill, but I lose my tier 2 town hall, so that's unfortunate there. But at any rate, I've still got the expansion up. He does not have an expansion, so that's a pretty decent scenario. But the problem is, like I said, you know, he is sort of even the game out here with the economies. If I want to rebuild this, which I definitely do, it's going to be pretty bad news for me here, because as you saw, you know, only 5 mortar teams. It does not take very long to take out a town hall with 5 mortar teams with the attack upgrades. But I do have the Magic Sentry upgrade now, so this is going to allow me at least to see the mortar team bomb coming. But even though I see it coming and I get some kills, he is still able to just stand there and knock out the other town hall. So my resources are really taking a hit here, even though it's mostly the wood that is hurting me a little bit, I guess. But yeah, he's really delaying everything. He's you know, instead of making like tech units, I'm trying to play defense, and you know, I've just got these footmen right now, which is really bad against casters and griffins and mortars, obviously. So I don't know if he actually got the fragmentation shard, but if he did, that's a really good upgrade to have against footmen and against, you know, casters and pretty much a lot of other things. It's great to have fragmentation shard. So but I do have a pretty good army for creeping still, and I do have my economy, and my bases are towered, so knocking these bases out again is going to be difficult for him. But in terms of the armies here, he's got a pretty good advantage just from the tech units that he's got. The griffins are going to be great against footmen. Obviously the casters are going to be really strong. He's got master sorks actually, which you know, is going to give him plenty of mana and hit points, and polymorph, but I don't think he uses it, since, you know, it's just mostly footmen he's fighting. But I do have some rifles, and I picked up some mercs here, so that's going to help me. It's going to give me slow and The Berserker is pretty good, and the rifle's obviously going to be good against the Griffins. And it looks like that Griffin might. No, he's going to come back in range. Hopefully I kill that. It needs one more shot. Please don't I kill that Griffin. Oh, he healed it. He's starting to heal it. So, really sort of sloppy micro. I didn't get that kill. Really frustrating. But my army is still not, with the addition of these mercs and riflemen, it's not terrible against his army. Slow is still going to be, as you see, really hurting me. But if you look at the food counts, I want to say I had like a 10 food advantage at least over him there when that fight started. And so, and with the fact that I have level 2 devotion aura, my army is, while his is pretty decent, you know, he really didn't, the only thing he really countered hard was the footmen. The riflemen were, you know, a good counter to pretty much everything he has. The casters, the griffins, and just the fact that I have so many units here. And giving everything plus 3 armor is a 15% damage reduction increase, so on these riflemen at least. So, so yeah, it's going to be a pretty good skill to have a devotion aura. And a lot of times, you know, devotion aura, it doesn't shine as much as some of the other auras simply because in certain scenarios it doesn't help you. Really, if you're not getting attacked, obviously you're not getting any benefit out of it. So now you can say, well, you know, if you're not getting attacked, you can do whatever you want. But you know, say you're pushing a base, you know, he has 2 towers or something, but you know, you're not getting an increase in damage. Getting around the map, you're not getting an increase in movement speed, and but in terms of in battle, it's actually one of the decent auras to have. In battles, it's actually usually pretty good. But like I said, though, these griffins do counter footmen really well, and they pretty much killed them immediately. And I really still don't have a great counter to the caster units. Or this, at least slow. I can kill the caster units pretty easily with riflemen, which I need to go ahead and do. And yeah, so I'm level 5. I'm getting really close to level 6, which he really does not want me to get level 6, because that ultimate is going to, as you see, there's a lot of dead units there. I think I'm at 55 food and he's at 30, so not having expansion really sort of, or having an expansion and him not having one really sort of kept me in this game. So I'm gonna run over here and boom, I'm gonna revive 3 footmen, 2 rifles, and a it looks like that's what, and Troll Berserker. I think that's what I revived. So that is a huge ultimate there. A lot of times it's gonna be hard to use that ultimate because it costs like 200 mana, but it just so happened that I had 200 mana there to use and saved it to use the ultimate, and got all the units back. Again, it is going to let him get experience for those kills, which kind of is terrible. To, you know, 6. You don't usually want to just let 6 units die, but if you can instantly revive them, it's not nearly as big of a problem. And after a battle, it can really sort of be a back-breaking thing to revive. Let's see, if we say it was 3 footmen, 2 rifles, and a troll berserker, that's 2 food for all the footmen, so 6 food for the footies, and then 3 food for the rifles and the trolls, so 9 plus 6, 15 food, a 15 food sort of swing there. So that's a really strong swing. Not as good as like if it were, say, knights or something else, but still pretty decent. So kind of like, if you think about it, you know, if you had a spell that could kill 15 food, or an ultimate spell that could kill 15 food in one casting, you know, usually you would think that would be a great spell. from no health to full health, or from full health to no health, but not quite the same, but sort of comparable. Trying to compare that to other ultimates, it's pretty decent in certain scenarios. So anyway, that was some use of the Holy Paladin, sort of going solo Paladin there. So again, it's pretty hard. There's a lot of weaknesses to going for a Paladin. He doesn't, against all the races except for Undead, he doesn't really have any, I guess I would say, aggressive or offensive spells. Devotion Aura and Holy Light, they have pretty good synergy actually, and Divine Shield as well, if you want to get that. But increasing armor actually improves the effect of your healing spells. So it makes them really efficient, because you're increasing the armor doesn't increase the amount of hit points that you have to heal with your spells or your items or whatever, but it does increase the effect, sort of the impact or effect of sort of the damage reduction. Obviously is what the effect of armor is. So it's like, it's a little bit better to increase the armor usually, at least in terms of attack damage, than it is to increase the hit points. Hit points are better to defend against nuke spells, whereas armor is going to be better against, better than increasing hit points, because you don't have to heal as many hit points. So if you cast Holy Light on a hero that has 800 hit, a hero that has 800 hit points, level 3 Holy Light can't even heal that up fully if they're under 200. So whereas if they had fewer hit points, say they had 500 hit points but they had like 6 armor or something like that, then they could be sort of walking around as if they have that huge amount of hit points, but your Holy Lights are going to be able to heal them up all the way. Level 3 Holy Light can heal the full amount of hit points there on that hero. So the aura and the Holy Light work sort of hand in hand, which is a pretty good effect there. But in terms of like damage boosts and burst damage, the Paladin just does not have it. He doesn't have any spells unless you're fighting against an undead player, which if you are, then Holy Light is really good, because it serves as not only healing but like an improved death coil, so to speak, because it costs less mana, it has a shorter cooldown. When you cast it on something, it hits instantly, whereas a death coil has travel time. Gives them a chance to react if they're fast enough. And again, the cooldown is actually 1 second faster for Holy Light. It costs 10 mana less, and I think I'm not sure, the range might even be a little bit better, but even if it isn't, it's still all those things combined slightly better than Death Coil in terms of offensive output, just because of those slight advantages, the cooldown and everything. So, but otherwise, the Paladin can get in some trouble because you don't have any burst damage out of the hero. He doesn't really do much against air units. So if they mass air units, you're really going to have to counter that almost entirely with units. And yeah, so it really sort of limits you in some respects, but again, when you get a large army and level that Paladin up, for level 2 and 3 Devotion Aura, and then the ultimate is, if you have enough mana, the ultimate is pretty decent. But if you level that ultimate up and have like a 60 food army, it's a pretty noticeable, kind of like if you if they couldn't counter Armor Scroll, how Armor Scroll sort of has a big impact in the game. It's sort of similar to the way that Devotion Aura does. You know, level 3 Devotion Aura is way better than Armor Scroll. Even at level 2, 3 armors compared to 2 from the Armor Scroll. But the problem really is being able to level the Paladin up and not get into some sort of bad scenario. Like if you're against a Demon Hunter, you know, they start harassing, that's really annoying. And then in battles, if you skip Divine Shield, then the Paladin can sort of become a big target. Now it is a strength hero, so that's not terrible, and again with Devotion Aura and all those hit points, it can be hard to kill the Paladin, but you know, in late game battles, you know, if you don't get leveled up to like 4 and 5, say you're playing an undead player, or say you're playing, you know, any kind of race like a orc, they can really focus down with the Blade Master and ignore your units, which is going to, you know, really take the Holy Light out of the equation. And since you can't Holy Light yourself, and it's going to be pretty much a good game a lot of times. You're probably going to have to run around with invulnerability potions and healing potions to make that work. And so yeah, that's sort of the weakness of the Paladin. Several weaknesses there. So hopefully you enjoyed this audio. Subscribe, comment, what have you. You know, if you have any requests, if you want to do any games against me, with me, what have you. Always up for making new friends on there, getting in some games. And until next time, this is ScryMind signing out.